So the rocket stove, I'm going to use this auger. Just go down through the top centrally and come in roughly on the side wall somewhere there. With this one, I've got to get a chainsaw and just level that off a little bit, and then I'm going to quarter it. It's too small to do anything different. But yeah, I'm going to make these first and see how they come out. Now you can actually buy the Swedish fire log in my local supermarket during the summer months in the same aisle with all the barbecue stuff. But I've never purchased one. But I'm going to try on a small scale and find out the difference between a log rocket stove and a Swedish fire log. I haven't seen the rocket stove for sale commercially, but I've seen plenty online. So I'm going to give it a small scale test just to see if it's worth taking with me or making while I'm out bushcrafting or wild camping. Now the idea with a rocket stove is that air will be drawn in through the bottom hole, producing a suction effect and increasing the burn speed, and you'd get a directed flame going up through that central hole chimney for cooking or to produce heat and light. Now my Swedish fire log, I've done it in quarters. You can do it in 8ths, 16ths, whatever takes your fancy. However big your log is, you can break it down to basically whatever size or segments you want. I'm dealing with small logs, so I've got no option but to do quarters. But I'm actually using a chainsaw to do the cutting just for speed and to get the job done, because I want to get this test underway. Now the theory behind the Swedish fire log is you get good airflow and you have a lot of surface area which can take a flame and continue burning. So basically it's like having a lot of kindling going up all at once. Now both these logs have been dried for over 12 months before I had them in the woodshed, and they've been down here for like 6 to 8 months. They're at the very end of the wood pile, so they are thoroughly dry, so they should work perfectly. Now I'm going to use fire dragon gel. I'm going to stuff it into the holes and crevices just to get the logs lit, to kind of speed it up, but not just that, to give it a fair test, get them well underway. Now if this actually works and it's a viable option for me to take when I go bushcrafting and wild camping, I would like to take one and possibly do some cooking on it. But because I don't know nothing about these fire logs, I'm here trying in my garden. I don't want to be miles away from home with an idea, unpracticed and untested, and not really have any clue or backup plan if it doesn't work. Now, I don't know how most people like these other fire logs, or what there is impregnated in the wood, or what other accelerant gets them going. But fire dragon gel, I do know, has a long burn, and if anything's going to get them going, fire dragon gel will. I've lit both of them, and as you can see, it seems like it's an extremely slow kind of start to these logs. You don't get a instant woof and they're away. Now the actual conditions I'm testing them in, the logs, like I said, are actually dry. They're several years dry, but there is no wind. There's no moisture or rain in the air, so they should technically go, but we have a very light breeze, and that will play a crucial factor into this test later on. Now this was an extremely slow start. They both looked like they were really struggling to catch. But as you can see by this point here where they had caught, one had a clear advantage. It was able to draw air in from 4 different directions, and it kept burning. It had a lot of surface area, and whatever breeze there was, it was picking it up. They were both angled into what breeze we did have, and you could see the rocket stove. It's trying. Any bit of breeze was sending it glowing, but there wasn't enough breeze to keep the draw going. If I blew into it, like I just did here, it would start it off for another few minutes, but it needed you to constantly blow into it. If there was a constant breeze, that rocket stove would work fantastic. But the Swedish fire log just seems to want to go and go, and in fact, it just seemed to almost like a steam train. The longer it was running, the hotter and more vigorous it went. The rocket stove was really struggling. I had to keep blowing into it, but once I did blow into it, the flame definitely felt more directed, and it was hotter coming out the top. So by now they've been going 15 minutes, and you can clearly see the sidewall is burning out on that rocket stove. That's down pretty much to how I manufactured it. Poorly, I might add, but I thought the airflow might help actually, but it didn't. It still needed a fair breeze, and I was constantly blowing into it to keep it going, which is quite frustrating. While the Swedish fire log just seemed to keep going. In fact, I was quite impressed. You could brew a cup of tea or cook some food on that, particularly if it was a bigger log. So the Swedish fire log won out, and it may yet see action with me on a wild camp. All that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and hope to catch you on the trail.